Warped Radio.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to idobi Warped Radio. I am Fish. I am very excited right now because we have an incredible up-and-coming artist in front of me right now, but you need to check out previous episodes of idobi Warped Radio with Kevin Lyman, 303, Royal and the Serpent, Chandler Layden, and more. So head over to idobi.com right now. And I am very excited right now to not only introduce someone who is a multi-instrumentalist, someone who is an incredible writer, has an incredible flow, not only a scholar, but a gentleman, and has the manners of just the most polite person in the world. I'm very excited to welcome TX2 to idobi Warped Radio. And also, Cam, what's up? How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having us.
Woo, thanks for having us.
See, you were like, come on, tell me more. Tell me more. What am I telling me more? Tell me.
Keep going. Yeah, bring it in.
Hell yeah. So collectively, you guys are TX2, which I think is a very cool thing that it's not just a solo project. It's an encompassing group name. So right off the bat, I like that.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Now, was it always a group, or was TX2 originally just solo?
It started as a solo project, as like an anti-band. I played in a bunch of bands growing up, and I just got sick of always dealing with the lead singer ego thing as a drummer, and I decided I'm going to be the singer, but instead of dealing with all the band stuff, I'll rap, because that's like drumming with words, and I can just walk into a venue, bring in my laptop, and I have to deal with the band. It just didn't like feel authentic for me. I missed rock music, and so I decided to start bringing back rock music. With that, I realized I needed a band, and that's when Cam came into my life, and I started building out TX2, and it's like, I like that it's ambiguous. Is it a band? Is it a movement? I even let fans call themselves TX2. It's like a movement of people. Anyone can be TX2.
Ooh, I'm TX2. You spelled T-O-O.
It could be, and that could be a switch. There's no rules.
Hell yeah. So I'm very excited to interview you for the first time, because I want to get the full villain origin story of you, because I did a deep dive and your story is insane. It is not a traditional story that I've been able to tell on idobi Warped Radio or get out of an artist on idobi Warped Radio. So we're going to dive into a little bit of everything, if that's cool with you.
Let's do it.
Amazing. So you're from Fort Collins, Colorado, and you started out playing drums at such a young age. Talk about your inspiration behind getting behind the drum set, and maybe that kind of connects to some more stuff that happened in your career later on.
Yeah, I started as a drummer when I was 5 years old. My mom wanted my brother and I to bond. He was a guitarist, so we started playing in a band together. I ended up playing in a bunch of different bands throughout middle school, and I was usually playing with older kids. I even played in an Asking Alexandria cover band, a metalcore band, and I was the drummer. That did not last long because of the singer, and this was like a reoccurring pattern. I had one singer of a band who died in a car accident, one who had to quit because of a drug addiction, another band singer with an ego, and just all these things kept happening where I was like, I just don't want to play in bands anymore. I also loved rap music aside from rock, and I needed a break from rock. And I was like, all right, rapping is drumming with words. I'm going to form TX2. Timothy Thomas is my legal name. And I was like, Eminem, TX2. It sounds like a microwave though, but whatever. I decided that I was going to stick with the name, and I built out TX2 to what it is now.
That's amazing. And now, besides drumming and rapping, were you playing any other instruments or contributing to the band in any other ways growing up?
Well, when I was in bands growing up, I was a drummer, and then I started learning piano, and then from piano, I started learning how to sing, and then eventually started producing my own songs. And the first 2 years or 3 years of TX2, everything was self-produced, and then I was learning in Logic and playing guitar, but just power chords and figuring things out from there.
That's wild. We're going to be getting a lot more into the beginning days of TX2, because man, there's some underrated smashes you have.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and it also is super impressive. I got to put it out there right now that every one of your songs has over 100,000 plays from the early days.
That's crazy. I know. And a lot of that music, anything from the early days, was in high school. I released that, so.
That's crazy. Wild.
Yeah.
So now Fort Collins in Colorado is a very, very small town vibe over there. It's not like Boulder or Denver by any means. And it's not really a place, from what I've heard, a lot of people really get out of per se. It's more so like you're born, you grow up, and that's where you raise a family. And evidently die in Fort Collins. I couldn't think of a good, funny way of saying that, so I just kind of went straight for it. But
It's true.
But either way, talk about branching outside of your hometown for the first time when you're playing music and touring for the first time outside of there.
Yeah, I ended up moving to Miami when I was 18 years old because I thought that in some reason I was like, LA will be too oversaturated. And if I go down there, it'll be its own music industry. And so I moved to Florida and I lived out there for 4 years, playing a bunch of like local house shows, slowly playing venues. And then I did my first tour when I was either 21 or 2. I really don't remember, but it was out of a car and we just played like 6 or 7 shows in a row out of a car. Early days of TX2. And then obviously there's a viral moment. There's a lot that happened. I basically had like a breakdown and I was like, I'm going to make it. And then had a viral moment, moved out to LA because I was like, if I'm going to do it, I got to go balls to the wall. And then we got signed to Hopeless and then things started, really kicking in. And then I found Cam as well along this journey when I moved out to LA. Turns out he was my neighbor, which is
no way.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, and since then building it.
Easiest way not to move in with your bandmate, just be neighbors.
Yeah, true. Well, except now.
We live together.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah, so we moved in. We were started as neighbors, but then the relationship evolved into moving together.
I heard you just knocked down a wall and just made it one big apartment.
That's true. It's true. It was like, it was just the easiest
You really
thing.
did your research.
You really did the research. Hell yeah. So you're in a very exclusive club of artists that started out as a drummer and went on to be a frontman of their band, like Aaron Gillespie, obviously from Under Oath, and also played in Paramore for a little while. Can't forget that. Going on for the Almost and also his solo stuff, which is awesome. And then obviously Mod Son with his career playing drums and then going into hip hop and everything too. Talk about, were they influences or was there an influence behind you going from becoming a drummer to a rapper, or was it just because melodically it made the most sense?
I always thought it was so cool that Mod Son played in Scary Kids and then went on to be Mod Son. But yeah, I guess that was something. I remember listening to Mod Son back way in the rap hippie era as well. But there was a lot of different things. I just couldn't be a drummer anymore. I hated bringing the gear, and then it sucked, and then I had to deal with singers and their egos, and then I was like, at the end of the day, the reason you're going to make it is if you completely kill your ego, realize you're nothing and nobody, and it doesn't matter how good your music is, how good you look, whatever it could possibly be, you have to figure out a reason to make people care, and that's when TX2 started kicking in.
That's awesome. And now you've mentioned the ego of a singer a few times. And now, did you take that into consideration when you decided, hey, it's time for me to become the singer and the front person of my band? This is everything I don't want to be as the front person of my band.
1,000%. I always, if I have time and I'm able to, always help the drummer load in. I don't believe in the singer not getting off at not doing load out or load in. Another thing is, the reason I was able to blow up, I feel like, was I was like, no one will care that if I'm just another musician unless I have a huge ad spend behind me or a huge machine, and I had no machine when I started TX2. So I had to blow up as an emo influencer, which I hated post. A lot of people think I love being an influencer, social media content. I strongly dislike it, but I kill my ego. It doesn't matter what I want to do. This is what I had to do. And I was like, I'm going to make it no matter what. And I figured it out and just how to make people care.
And you did it. And you got people listening too, which is so fucking cool.
Thanks.
And that's so cool to hear that you help out your band with load in and load out, because not many singers, I'm not calling anyone out, but not many singers do it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bare minimum kind of thing. It shouldn't be that way. Yeah, but yeah.
Definitely. Now, when it comes to the creative process, what do you miss the most about being in a full band versus how you're doing stuff with this project?
I miss nothing. I love how we do everything. Cam is my right-hand man, and I realize in order to, you can write music alone. For me, I just need someone to be like, hey, that's a good idea. That's not a good idea. There's like 2 brains is always better than one. And I love that the way TX2 is structured. I feel like this is the perfect execution.
Definitely. And you say 2 brains are better than one. You have a 50,000 plus person Discord called the X Movement, which is an incredible community you've built. So talk about that movement and how you got everyone together just as like a support group, and how important that is, not only for your music and your fan base, but also on the personal side of things for all these people who are joining.
Yeah, I always have wanted to be more than a musician because I basically really struggle. I'm a nihilist. I really struggle with what is the purpose of life. We're all just animals on a rock floating through space. So what is there to live for? Especially since for a lot of my life, I thought there was nothing to live for. But I found something to live for by being like, hey, if I get a platform, I'm able to use power that is able to like guide people in the right direction. So if I build a movement of people as something that I wish I had when I was younger, where people know that A, they're not alone. B, we talk about mental health. And what does that mean? Instead of just saying that, it means like talk about how you're doing because no one's going to know unless you actually share it. Find healthy coping mechanisms. Hurting yourself will help nobody. That is something I struggled with. That's why I've talked about it in the past. I want people to know that you're not alone. If you felt like hurting yourself, I really struggled with it, and I still, but I'm definitely on a road to recovery. But regardless, I just need people to know they're not alone, find a healthy coping mechanism. And then through that, I just feel like I've learned the alternative scene is so toxic right now. It's filled with all this gatekeeping hate. I see all these social media creators who are alternative, always tearing each other down. It doesn't feel like it's focused on a safe space. And another thing that really sucks is, I feel like as an emo singer, because of like this reputation of emo, there's this like, oh, you're a creepy guy because of like, you know, you're an emo singer. And I hate that. So it's like another thing I can do with this movement is actually repair the alternative scene and get rid of that bad reputation. And the way I'm going to do that is talking about awareness. So with the movement, I talk about not only mental health awareness, find healthy coping mechanisms, no hate, gatekeeping. And then another thing is, it's really important for me. I say this every time I get a chance. Anyone under 18 should never have a relationship with anyone over 18 in any private capacity whatsoever. That's strange. It's something I wish I knew growing up, and without getting into it, unless you really want to, because I really care about this topic. But it's like, talk about this, tell a trusted adult. It's a strange thing. It's never okay. And if we spread awareness about that, that is how we can get rid of the stigma, is by talking about it, so that there's no questions or room up in the air about it.
That's amazing. And it's amazing that people have a resource that's not only a resource, but the actual source of someone who's living it as well and really in the thick of it with everything.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The short of it is it gives me something to live for, knowing that I can help other people and that my life has a purpose.
That's amazing, because your life clearly has a purpose, and not only on the artistic side, but on the personal side, because you've done so much on the personal side, which is so amazing, and you can never discount that.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Of course. And speaking of things you've done on the personal side and mixing in the music, your new single, Hostage, it's become a queer anthem, and it's to support the trans community. So I know you are a very big activist, as you just explained, and you very much care about the community and everything. What are maybe some other songs of yours that have kind of taken on a life of their own for the queer community, or you wrote specifically to help them through a darker time?
There's actually a bunch. I grew up in a religious, conservative household, and because of that, I used to think there was a problem with being gay, because and really it was internalized. I'm bisexual, pansexual, and when I was exploring, you know, being gay and having, you know, relationships like that, I hated myself for so long, and I was closeted for years because I was like, there's a problem with me, and I don't know, all these things. I just want people to know there's nothing wrong with loving whoever it is, as long as specifically safety. There should be nothing wrong with whoever you love. And so because of that, I care about the LGBT community a lot. It's like a place I've found refuge, and I want to help other people. So another thing is I am a huge fan of Green Day and Rage Against the Machine. I love political music. So 2 years ago, I released a song, and it's cool that Cam was actually part of this at that time. This is right when Cam was joining, called Randy McNally. That song we named after one of the governor lieutenants of Tennessee at a time where Tennessee was trying to pass laws banning drag shows. Basically, they thought that it's like a threat to kids. All of these horrible things that demonize the LGBT, specifically, you know, the drag queen community, the trans community. It's like the government always needs to find a group to demonize. Throughout history, they've done this. And, you know, now it seems to be, it's been the LGBT community for years. So I want to stand up to that. I wanted to create an anthem for that. And not only just like, all right, let's make an anthem, let's actually bring awareness to the names of these governors. So second verse, we made sure to name call out, hey, Bill Lee, it's nice to finally meet, who was the governor of Tennessee at the time, who was the one trying to push for these laws. And then, so Randy McNally was a cool one I liked. It was just about specifically the laws that they were passing. And because that it was cool, that video got millions of views. I saw it used in protests. I saw saw it used in drag shows across the world. There was like a giant European drag show that I saw that used Randy McNally in front of thousands of people, and I was like, this is fucking awesome. There's another song called Loaded Guns, which is just it's just a common theme. Why does the government need to make laws about gender? Why do they care about bathrooms? Why do they care about any of this shit? And the reason they do is because they're always looking for a group to demonize and distract us from all the horrible things that are happening in the country. So I've written a bunch of songs like Randy McNally, Loaded Guns, Hostage. I released a song called A Choice where the chorus lyrics is, I wish that love was a choice, but that shit's just a flip of the coin. And just I wrote when I was struggling. Heaven Was Full. I wrote about how when I came out as bi, I lost a bunch of my friends I grew up with and spent so many years having a group of the boys, and they just were like really offended that, I said I'm bi and I didn't tell them till now because they were afraid of like the sleepovers and things that are just like really sad. But it's affected me a lot, and I care a lot about the community. So I'm trying to do everything I possibly can, especially since I don't see many like cis men looking people who look like me, who everyone's like, oh, you're straight because of your voice or whatever, how you look or whatever they assume, talking about these issues. I'm like, I guess I'll be the one to do it.
Amazing. And you're doing it so tastefully with your music, and obviously it's making a huge impact.
Thank you.
Obviously, you guys are playing the Warped Tour this summer and fall. It's happening. I've had to get myself out of the habit of saying the Vans Warped Tour this summer because it's happening in the fall as well.
Right. What? Oh yeah. Is it because there's like multiple dates and it just goes all the way till then, right?
Yeah. There's a weekend in November.
Word.
So now this is one of my favorite things I found out about you, and I really need to know the full story on it. You received a scholarship to the University of Miami.
Yep.
And it was because you won a hip hop battle, or it was because you auditioned as a rapper?
I'll explain the full story.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. So I went out to, so when I was in Colorado, right, I needed to get away from my family. And my family was like basically forcing the thought that I needed to go to a college to be successful in any way, shape, or form. You're right. And so I went to all these music schools because I just wanted to get into music and audition, et cetera, whatever. And I flew out to Miami for like an audition for like singing, and I didn't realize that you couldn't you couldn't rap for some. I mean, I thought for some reason like I could be like a rapper in this case, and I like had emailed some of the staff, and they like led me saying that I could, but then the teachers who were there weren't aware of that, and so I started rapping. And I remember one of the teachers at the time was like, I used to work with the Beastie Boys. Can you freestyle? And so I didn't know what I was doing, but at the time I was like, all right, I'm gonna just start making fun of him. I was like, this man's wearing a suit and tie at an interview. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? And I started going like in on him. And then I guess, I don't know what I was thinking. I just was rebellious, didn't care. And because of that, they were like, all right, there's several students, and it's really weird that they picked me. That's a whole side. This conversation is a wormhole, but they gave several students like full rides to University of Miami and wanted us to start a hip hop program at the school. And for 1 year, they tried doing a hip hop program, and then they just gave up. But the good news is I got a scholarship out of it. I'm not complaining. But at the same time, my thoughts on school are probably the same as many people, including maybe you, and definitely a lot of people in the music industry, which is that I don't think it matters. And I'll say
passion matters.
Yeah, passion matters.
Passion and experience.
1,000%.
So how long did you actually attend? Was it throughout that whole year you attended, and then when they diminished the program, that's when you kind of stopped?
I actually attended 4 years. And through those 4 years, I was not paying attention in classes. I was not focused at all. I didn't really care. I got C's through and just made it happen. But I also studied business law as a minor, which helped me a lot. That was like the one class where I was like, this is going to apply a lot. And especially in the music industry, there's contracts all the time. I need to be able to read them. And I was really glad I studied that.
That's insane. Now, Cam, did you also go to college, or did you just pursue music?
I didn't do either, actually. I kind of just fell into this whenever I met Evan. I mean, I was like a hobbyist music guy my whole life, but I was pursuing film until the COVID hit, and then me and Evan met.
That's so sick. And now, was it Evan's like incredibly theatric music that really drew you with the film background?
I mean, that's definitely part of what the interest is, but mainly it was just me and Evan became besties and started doing everything together.
That's so cool. And now, Evan, what's your knowledge of music business and everything that you said that you studied, like even business law? Did you go into TX2 with a business plan or come up with a business plan for TX2 after the fact?
Everything I learned in school was useless for music business, but it was applicable probably 20 years ago. But what I learned in business law, super important. Contracts, and I've needed that a lot. I actually, one of the first jobs I worked was being a door-to-door salesman. My favorite part about this is I still have the pitch ingrained in me. Hi, my name's Evan. I'm here with Foothills Painting. I noticed you added some faded siding on your home, so I just wanted to put you down for a free estimate. I had to do that to thousands of people, and from there, I learned the number one key to business is if you knock on 10 doors, one of them will say yes. And I've just applied that to everything. I used to, when I was in Miami, I always had TX2 business cards on me. Every show I would go to, I'd hand them out to every single person. Whenever there was local concerts, I'd hand out my business card to every single person. Anytime there was like a music business or an industry convention, I'd go to them, I'd start pitching myself. I actually remember meeting someone from Hopeless at a meeting, and they won't even remember. I don't even know who it was, and I gave them a business card like years before everything happened. I just had this like door-to-door salesman mindset on music, and I still have it every day. I post, and, post 100 times. All it takes is one to go viral.
Wild. So that was how you found Cam. You knocked on 100 doors to try to find a guitarist.
Effectively. Yeah. I mean, I just posted, hey, I'm looking for a guitarist in the area. And I went through all the guitarists. This guy right here, best in the game.
Amazing. And now you talked about going door to door, doing this. Where were you going door to door? Was it only in Florida or only
in Colorado? Okay. I was a door to door salesman.
Yeah. Gotcha. So now doing door to door salesman and then moving one way across the country. Did you stop back in Colorado or did you go straight to California from there?
I stopped in Colorado for a little bit of an in between. Yeah, but not long.
So that door to door salesman stuff is very different between Colorado, Miami, and Los Angeles. How did you apply that moving across the country the second time when you got, or I guess the other way across the country?
You mean to LA?
Yeah.
Well, I still apply it to everything. I believe everything in the world can be described with numbers, and everything is probability, right? The odds of a song becoming a hit, there's a certain percentage of a probability, and you can increase this probability by posting about it in different ways every single day. So I'm always constantly posting, putting myself out there anytime I can, and I really don't fear rejection, hatred, or anything like that, because it's bound to happen 9 out of 10 times, but all it takes is that 1 out of 10. And if you just keep pushing and I keep applying that to everything in music or whatever industry it is, eventually you'll get the success.
So genius. People need to take more notes on what you're saying about music business and the industry side of things.
Definitely. I think anyone can make it as long as you just keep pushing, and as long as eventually your probability gets high. You might have like a 0.0001% chance of making it when you first post on TikTok, and then if you post every single day for a year, now that's 1%, 2%, 3%. You just keep growing. Everything's numbers.
Amazing. And this is not a segue into the number saying the question, but it does incorporate a number, obviously, because your name is TX2. It's going to be a 2. So in your own words, what is TX2?
It's a movement. Now it's become a movement, an alternative to the alternative scene. I feel like I've been an outcast my whole life. When I started TX2, I was the SoundCloud rapper who would never make it. When I was in Miami, I was the pop punk kid with a bunch of jazz kids who'd never make it. When I moved to LA, I'm the like poser kid who's not enough, whatever it is. I feel like in every way we have dealt with things that I can't even describe on here, where we've been outcast. People are like trying to like whatever they can to stop us, and it just never stops us. We have a phrase in our movement: they will not erase us. Doesn't matter what anyone says, doesn't matter what anyone, even if the government, that now it's also political. Even if the government says you don't exist, who gives a fuck? Only you know your existence and what you stand for. And that is what I stand for.
That's beautiful. And now, Cam, what does TX2 mean to you?
It's a place for people who don't fit in anywhere else. People who actually don't fit in anywhere else. There's a lot of people who say that, but they're just the cool kid clubs. That's what it means to me. Because me and Evan weren't really meant to be sitting on this couch, but through force of will, we made it happen.
Through probability, we're definitely not cool kids. Or even close.
Cool is subjective.
I appreciate that. I would agree with you, whereas the world might disagree. but I agree.
And I'm going to go outside and yell, I'm fucking cool after this interview. And some people might beep their horns in support and some might beep because I'm in the way.
True. But if you keep saying that to enough people, eventually one of them will agree with you.
Exactly, because of probability.
Exactly.
So your first song that you released on streaming that I was able to find, it's called Here's Your Love Song. And it has early hints of Mac Miller, which I really, really loved. And I'd never heard that side of you. And I firmly believe the Spins by Mac Miller, you cannot hear that song without a smile on your face.
I agree. Yeah,
Like,
we love that song. Yeah, and Mac Miller, yeah.
Such a good song. And like your super early stuff has hints of that, and like earlier like MGK, like the hip hop side of things with that. When did you decide that this project needs more rock? I need some live guitars in here. I need people to be jumping up and down.
I'm 80% sure it was either 2018 or 2019 released a song called Living Punk Rock, and it was like rock rap, and it's because I also love Rage Against the Machine, Limp Bizkit, all the other like rock, Linkin Park, and I was like, just doing the rap thing doesn't feel that authentic to me. I love rap music, I've studied it, I understand it, but it's just not me, especially growing up with emo, so I wanted to mix the two around 2018, 2019, and then every song after that got more and more rock. So for the last 5-6 years, we've been doing rock rap.
That's so cool, because it's funny because you weren't around it here per se, but 2019 was a time where like Mod Sun was starting more so with the rock songs. MGK was starting with the rock songs. Like it was a whole movement all across. Like I think just something clicked one day. I think the angst.
I think so too. I definitely would agree.
Yeah, like a quote that always stuck out to me was I watched this documentary on Woodstock 99, and the narrator says everyone was mad, but they didn't know what they were mad about. And I feel like that's rock coming back in like 2019.
That actually makes sense. Good quote.
Right? I really hope I didn't misquote him.
No, yeah. It's just a completely different quote. Yeah.
Dude, that was something from Superbad you saw. Yeah. Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
So you didn't drop any music in 2020. Obviously, that was a really hard year for everyone. And then in 2021, you only dropped one song. And since you started dropping music back in 2018, those are the only 2 years that you didn't drop that much. Yeah. So what were you doing during 2020 and 2021 that you weren't releasing music?
I actually am not sure. I'm trying to figure out. I can't disclose everything because of that, but I dealt with a moment where I basically hit $0 in my account. I was like, someone I trusted completely destroyed everything we'd built. And I was like, you're going to be the reason I'm going to make it. I will make sure you see my name on billboards one day. And I hit the lowest low I possibly could. And I decided that I'm going to do it. Kill my ego. I will find out what it takes to get TX2 signed on tour. You will see my name. And that was when the real villain arc started.
That's the real villain origin story we were talking about.
It's so dark and deep and I just can't disclose anything other than that.
Damn.
Yep.
There's many layers.
Many layers.
So now some of your lyrics have been considered controversial by some people. And I know you've explained that a lot of your lyrics shouldn't be taken literally, more so metaphorically in a way.
1000%.
Which is a very, very big thing to say out to people and a very good way of explaining it to people. Now, which of your lyrics mean the most literally and which mean the most metaphorically? And Cam, I'm going to ask you the same thing. You're not exempt from this.
I would love to hear his answer on this. Literally, shit. Damn, I can't.
Do you want me to go first?
Can he go first?
Oh, and then
yeah.
All right, literally. Old white man always gotta say shit.
Yeah, that's good. Old white man always gotta say shit. Easy. Yeah.
Figurative. Who would have known you'd be the switchblade that's holstered at my side because it's about me?
Yeah, I actually wrote mad about Cam because I was like, it's just a whole thing. I use like the metaphor of like Cam is like my switchblade. I think it's very. Some people can do it alone. I can't. I just always, he's my right hand man. We're building this empire together. So, dude, old white men always gotta say shit. They can hold my dick. They don't want a conversation. That goes nuts. That's a good literal one. And on that note, another one I really love that is more metaphorical is "There's no love like Christian hate." I feel like that was like a good play on the Christian hate phrase. And just, as someone who even better. No, that one's good. No love like Christian hate. There's no love like Christian hate. Let's all count down till Judgment Day. Yeah, it was very sarcastic, and it was a statement that I felt like I dealt with, a bunch of friends who were, we can't be friends with you. You're turning people away from Christianity, and this like mob mindset of like, people who are judgmental. A man and a man can't sleep together. Whatever the beliefs are like that. I was like, that's, I've actually read the Bible. I had a Christian phase of my life. I understand that that's not even in the Bible. Most Christians take things out of their own context to judge others. And it was a cool statement we made with that. Is that the best metaphorical? It's not technically a metaphor.
We're going to think of something really funny on the way home.
Yeah, I'm going to think of something better later, unfortunately.
We'll FaceTime and then we'll splice it into the interview.
Yeah.
Dude, I just thought of this.
Yeah. All right. Word.
So we were talking about Mad before, and I want to ask you a little bit more about it, if that's cool with you.
Yeah.
Because you have such incredible collaborations. You collaborated with Magnolia Park. You collaborated with 408 on their recent album, which may be their debut, but this isn't a 408 interview, so I didn't fact check that. But either way, you're on it, and it's incredible. And I love 408. If you guys are listening, I fucking love you guys so much. And
we love 408.
Hell yeah.
Can't wait to see you guys very soon. And so, what's been your favorite collaboration? Because Mad, you did it with Ice Nine Kills, and obviously Cam's right here. It's about him. You have Ice Nine Kills on it. Ice Nine Inch Kills Switchblade.
I
tried so hard.
You were almost there.
I was almost there.
Yeah. So, favorite collaboration is not out. We have a song with a collaboration that's I think is our best yet. But half and half with Ice Nine Kills, because dude, the fact that we got Spencer, Joe, the Ice Nine Kills on this was insane. I've been a huge fan of them for years, and they absolutely smashed it. Yeah.
And they've done so much.
Oh, do you know what's also crazy? Matt Good from First to Last.
Oh, yeah.
That collaboration was nuts. We love Matt. He produces like most of our music now, and he's like awesome.
It's legendary. And it makes the emo snobs angry to this.
Yeah, they hate it.
Because he's emo like royalty.
I mean, he's head emo in a way.
Yeah. OG.
I remember the first time Evan and I had a conversation on the phone. It was, I don't know if Cam was there too, but you were out in Arizona recording with Matt.
Oh, word. Okay. Yeah. We're always out there.
Yeah. So
he probably was.
Yeah. You were like, dude, I'm in the studio with Matt Good. I'm like, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
So now I took a look at the production credits on your most recent singles. He's producing, he produced three of or at least the last three. Is there more in the works with him?
So much.
You just wait. You just wait. We have a whole album this year you might have to see. The first technical debut album of TX2. The other albums are high school SoundCloud rapper figuring out shit, but it's finally here. The debut.
But we can't discount how good they are as well.
I don't think they were good. I appreciate that, though. I really appreciate that. That's very nice of you. And I don't. I think I've improved so much since then, but I appreciate that.
Hell yeah. No, you're constantly growing your craft, and it's very admirable to not only see in person, but also from afar. So
thanks.
You're absolutely crushing it. So don't you worry about that. And also, you're quite good with a cryo gun. We'll talk about that in the next segment.
Oh, yeah.
So you've dominated on this little app called TikTok. I know at least 1 out of 10 people who are watching this interview have TikTok at this point, right? So, what was the first video you posted where you thought to yourself or knew to yourself, this is actually catching on, this is what I need to be doing?
The first ever well, I had a bunch. Okay, so when everything happened in 2020, I was like, everyone thinks TikTok is cringe, and who cares what other people think? Kill my ego, do what I know will get people to care and reach new people. So I started creating a bunch of viral videos that once I figured out how things went viral, I started studying the algorithm. Those were like the first time I was like, okay, I can do this. But the first time I ever teased a TX2 song was the song Pull the Plug. And I did like the Quiet Kids skit. I'm a huge fan of dark humor. I'm personally under the opinion that if something is a joke, as long as it's not extremely poorly timed or about something that you shouldn't joke about, which, there's a lot, it's a strange blurry line, but I love South Park. I love dark humor. We did like a dark humor joke for Pull the Plug that went viral and allowed that song to get streams. And then that was like the big first moment, I think.
That's wild. And now I like asking about the first moment of something like that, but even better, the second time it happened. How long did it take for that second viral video to hit? And what was that viral video?
Second was about like a month or two later. I re-released the song Vampire by Rumor. And then I can't remember. I had like a series of videos that went viral. They were like comedy skits that were like emo that like ended with an advertisement for the song. I don't remember what the second video was, but I know it's for Vampire by Rumor, and I know it's like a cringe smosh style emo skit.
I'd love that. I'm gonna have to go look that one up.
Yeah, you should. I don't know what it is, but we'll find it if we keep scrolling way down on TikTok. You have to go like.
Oh, I found out you could search by popular now.
Yeah, that's the move.
When it comes to these TikToks and how dramatic and theatric they are, do you have any influence on these?
Yeah, I mean, me and Evan, we go to get coffee every morning and we brainstorm what we're gonna do for the week. So, and then I'd say we co-direct all of our skits and stuff.
That's a powerhouse team.
Right hand man.
And quite literally, everything's in-house because you're roommates too.
Literally in-house.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
We're finding out everything about TX2, and now we're going to talk about TX2 playing the Vans Warped Tour.
Let's go.
I'm not going to lie. If I were you in 2019 or 2020, I would have never thought I'd hear that sentence.
I know. Same. I cannot believe that.
Because the Vans Warped Tour didn't exist mostly.
That also is a good point. But it would have applied either way.
It's true. And now you're playing the Vans Warped Tour, and obviously this has been a festival and a show that everyone's gone to, and a tour that everyone's gone to in the alternative scene, or arguably everyone's gone to in the alternative scene throughout the years. And all sorts of genres of music have been played at the Vans Warped Tour. And now you are another multi-genre artist playing the Vans Warped Tour. So what style of your performance are you really trying to show at the Vans Warped Tour? Are you trying to go for the theatrics or the music?
Definitely both. We're going for like high octane, can't look away energy.
Yeah, we just want to start some mosh pits. Yeah, that's the energy.
That's so crazy. And now there's artists that were on the Vans Warped Tour that I can't even believe it, but everyone else also says, I can't believe they were on it, such as Eminem that we talked about earlier, like even Black Eyed Peas were on it. So does that give you inspiration behind the more hip hop side of things, that you can still be the hip hop artist you started out as?
Yes. And I just don't feel like the hip hop lean is like the most authentic thing to me, because I did grow up with more rock. So I would say it's like a 60-40 if it was like rock, if not 70-30. So, but I definitely know there still will always be rapping. It's, just rhythm and poetry, but I think it's more rock. I think we just lean more rock, and that's just it felt the most like home to me.
And it sounds like home.
Thanks.
Well, home sometimes, like when.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah,
like the sounds of screaming parents at home.
Yeah,
yeah, hiding. Yeah.
There's a TX2 for every home sound.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
So your performances are always high energy. You can't discount that, no matter what setting they're in. And you proved recently that you could do a headline tour and sell out rooms all across the country. So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
Can't forget that. Now, what's your approach going into an opener slot / a festival slot to win over fans? Because you are no stranger to festivals. You've played a few.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that we're here, well, as an opener, we're here to warm everyone up. So it's like we try to talk as little as possible, let the music do the talking.
Yeah, no yapping.
Just songs and straight punches all the way through. Same with festivals, is like as fast as we can, hit them with the big hits. No little yapping unless it's necessary. All killer, no filler.
What a great reference to
Sum 41.
Hell yeah. And I think this is a fact. I'm pretty sure it's a fact. Sum 41 is the only artist ever on Vans Warped Tour to play an entire record during their set.
Interesting.
I think they played Half Hour of Power literally during their set in Toronto on the anniversary of it.
Wow. All the way through. Word.
All the way through.
Word. Huge fan of them. Big inspiration.
amazing. They're so good. And I could definitely hear a lot of the inspiration now that you've said that, just like even from like the earlier days of Sum 41.
Definitely. We actually saw them at...
They made our bit like best festival experience.
Yeah, they
It
did.
was Sonic Temple.
Sonic Temple, we saw them, and I believe it was Dave who saw us, and he...
It was like a closed backstage, but he saw us.
Yeah, he saw us, and he brought us into their huddle for the 3-2,
Yeah, it
into
was
the
so
show.
cool.
And I'll never forget it. That was like, and they must have known we were fans, and they must have known how much it meant to us, because like, why else would they? And then during the set, they even let us get closer too, man. It was like, that one day I want to do that for someone else type beat. You know what I'm saying? It inspires that energy.
And also, it just shows how incredible music is, because that one moment might have given you an idea of what you want to be when you're at that level of success.
1000%. Very inspirational.
And I would never think of the biggest thing of my success would be pulling in someone that made it a special moment for them of the one of 100 times that we're doing this.
Yeah, definitely. It was literally like a life-changing moment. Yeah.
So cool to hear. That's amazing. Shout out to the Sum 41 guys for
Shout
doing
out
that.
Sum 41.
And shout out to you guys for not being too scared to jump into that huddle or get closer, because I would have just run away.
Dude, if Sum 41 asks you to do a huddle, you don't ask questions.
Yeah, he's got me.
Are you sure you're talking to me?
Yeah. I mean, I think we were literally doing that for a second. We were like, yeah.
There's nobody else here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Now, you do have an extensive discography, even though you said that arguably the first TX2 record is coming out still.
Oh, yeah.
So now, of those songs, are there any songs you know for a fact? I know the answer to this, but I want to know which ones in particular that you know you're not going to be playing at Warped Tour.
Of the new album of songs.
Of the songs you've released already.
Of the songs that we've released already, songs that we're not playing at Warped Tour, right? Burn. I don't think we're playing Burn at Warped Tour. I don't think we're playing... Dude, I mean, we have so many new songs. It's like Cut Swing at Me. Unfortunately, I love that one. So Numb, such a good song.
Probably No Cruel World.
No Cruel Worlds. I mean, any big one?
I mean, it's all up in the air.
It's all up in the air.
Really, I would hate me too.
I don't think we're going to play Heaven Was Full. That was one of our top songs. I don't think we're going to play it. But all the other big top songs and some new songs that I think smack all those out of the water.
Amazing, because I mean, just knowing how many songs you have and what your set time is going to be lengthwise, you just got to know there's going to be ones you don't even have to argue that you want to play at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
So another thing the Vans Warped Tour is famous for is forming communities for the outcasts and always being a safe space for people to go to be that outcast. We've talked about it a little bit, but what have you done over the last few years to make the TX2 shows a very similar vibe for the outcasts in person? We talked about the Discord, but we didn't really talk about how you do it in person. And I know Cam's also a part of that as well, because you're in person with TX2. So how do you guys form those communities and keep all your fans very comfortable and do everything you do on Discord, but in person?
Well, for starters, we encourage fans to make friends on the Discord before coming out to shows, and at every show we always have, like, especially on headlines, like a speech along the lines of, if we're going to actually make a change for the alternative scene, we need all of you here, which means you need to stay with us for the next 10 years, and we cannot miss out on any of you. You are all important. Look to the person to the left, to the right of you. Build friendships, build out a scene. Besides verbally saying that, we always say every day, like, do not hurt yourself, to find a healthy coping mechanism. Let's end all of the bad stigmas. If someone's creepy in the crowd, pointed out, we've been looking for a reason to kick someone's ass. I have all of this pent up aggression that I've been waiting to take out on the right person, specifically in someone who's being creepy, dangerous, or anything like that at a show. Obviously point out anything unsafe, talk about it, awareness. Every show we are at the merch booth trying to meet every single fan after the set. And I think there hasn't been a single show that we haven't been able to meet every fan at, except for some festival shows, maybe, where we were not able to, but even then, after a festival, we like to go up to the barrier and meet everyone and just say thank you for coming out, man. The fact that people show up for us, we are lucky. We have the luckiest position in the world. We will not forget that, and the people that are supporting us early are the reason we're here, so we need to make sure they know how grateful we are for them. What else, Cam? Anything I'm missing?
It's mainly talking about show safety for kids who've never been to shows before. A lot of these kids have never been to shows, so they just don't know what to do, or they don't know when something's wrong or right. So it's just telling them and letting them know.
Awareness.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. And speaking of your performance and your shows, something that you technically performed at, but you did give 100,000% of a performance was emo night. Like you literally just went up there and DJ'd. You ended it with "I Would Hate Me Too," which was awesome. You actually sang that, but you put on a performance and you encapsulated every single person at the Avalon that day, or that night rather. They might not have known you beforehand, but they definitely knew who you were in that moment and after. Talk about that and really just getting the performance and everyone hooked on you, because you were just playing other people's songs at emo night, which is such a cool thing to do. And you treated it like the biggest night of your life. And it inspired me after that. Like you got off stage and you were sweaty and gross and everything. I'm like, man, I'm up here all night. I don't even get this sweaty and gross. And you gave it your all, jumping up and down with a cryo gun, staring at kids, making eye contact and everything. So talk about that and how you do that with actual TX2 performances too. Cause I haven't gotten the opportunity to see you perform live as TX2.
I think the big thing that I always remind myself, and we talk about this pretty much every other day, I used to work at a restaurant. I used to be a busboy. I used to be a door-to-door salesman. I worked a desk job at one point. I am lucky that my career, the luckiest person in the world to be doing music. And every chance I get to perform, I need to act like my life is on the line to perform, which is what I did that night. And I will always, because I'm just lucky to be here. The opportunity, like, dude, like, millions of people would kill at any point to be where we're at. So we have to at all points fight for it like our lives depend on it, because it does. At any point you could just fall off in this career. So it's like, it is literally a battle for life every time. If I have a chance to play on a stage, I'm not going to blow it. There's not, you know, it's like every opportunity you are gifted and lucky to have. So do not blow it. Perform like your life depends on it. We are entertainers. We're here to entertain everyone, and let's just make sure we do our job as good as we can.
And you definitely entertained every single person in that room that night.
Let's go. Awesome.
And not only that, I have to tell everyone how kind and how polite Evan is too. Because if there was a vape around, the only person to ever ask, am I allowed to hit this inside? And made sure not a single person was hit by anything in the residue. Which was like, as stupid as that sounds, no one's ever done that. And I've literally been like, Evan is the most polite person in the world because he did that.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. I just know some people don't want smoke in their face. So I'm just,
like literally no, like you go out in public. No one does that.
Yeah. Word. True.
You smell like you're tasting the rainbow every time you walk in the valley.
True.
So, man, that was such a great night. And I was so grateful that I got to actually hang out with you in a semi-work environment. I'll say it wasn't a 100% work environment.
No, it was a fun time.
Yeah, we got to actually hang out in the downtime and while we were on stage too, which was awesome. And I'm very, very happy to be on idobi Warped Radio with you right now. Very excited to see you at the Vans Warped Tour when you're playing it. What dates are you playing the Vans Warped Tour? We actually haven't said that.
We are playing the Long Beach, but I don't think they've told us which date we're playing, unless I'm not
which cities.
We're playing Long Beach, and just Long Beach, but it's like 2 days. Is it going to be different bands each day? Do we know? I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
It's sold out and you'll be there. That's all that matters.
We'll find out.
Amazing. I'm very excited for it. Very excited to see you perform for the first time ever as well, because the Moroccan show that you played here, your headliner, was sold out.
Oh, let's go.
And it was sold out. And not only was it sold out, I refuse to go to a Moroccan lounge when it's sold out because there's not enough room as soon as it's sold out.
It wasn't the Moroccan, I think.
It wasn't the Moroccan. It was...
remember that? Yeah, but it wasn't Moroccan.
It was something ballroom.
Terragram. Yeah.
Why did I think you played Moroccan?
I don't know.
Yeah.
What?
Well, if I knew it was at Terragram, I would have went. No,
Oh.
I'm totally kidding.
Yeah.
No, but I want
Yeah.
to get at it. It was probably so overpacked that it was just like, damn.
It was a
Yeah,
really
you
fun
probably
show.
would have had the same problem.
Yeah, which is my biggest pet peeve.
That's fair. That's fair. Fair enough.
Big burly dude.
Side stage at Warped Tour.
Exactly. You know what? Actually, I want to be stage left at Warped Tour. I don't even want to be side stage. I want to be stage left.
That's my
Stage
side.
left.
Hang out with me.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm gonna be
Smoke
Cam's-
him out mid show. Cam would love that. No, I'm not kidding. I'm not. Yeah, that's not a joke.
joint tech.
Yeah, we actually did that on the last
Ice
tour.
9, yeah.
The Ice 9 tour. We did. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, they get down too.
Yeah, they get down.
God bless Joe Artucci, one of my
We
favorite
love
people in the
Joe.
world. Joe, I'm doing a lot of shout outs straight into the camera today.
Yeah.
Joe, if you're listening, you've been one of my favorite people since I'm 18 years old, and nothing about that will ever change.
Joe, we love you. We always will.
Joe, you smell funny.
And the first time I met you, you were opening for the Click 5 on Long Island on what was supposed to be the end of the world. I believe the date was May 17th, 2012.
Was that Venetia Fair?
No, he was with JP and Jason then.
Oh, word.
I don't know if I was supposed to say that during the interview, but
Well,
he was with JP and Jason.
Okay.
It was awesome at the Vibe Loud.
Yeah.
But either way, like I've said multiple times during this interview, a lot of iconic artists have played the Vans Warped Tour throughout the years. If there was an artist living or who has unfortunately passed, who has played the Vans Warped Tour, which artist would you want to collaborate with?
My Chemical Romance. Yeah, I have
Easy.
huge fans. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't say.
Yeah. Yeah. Truth.
Follow-up question, which era of My Chemical Romance?
The Black Parade, in my opinion, was the best, but then all the like MCR people are gonna be like, oh, the most mainstream. I also like Danger Days.
They're all masterpieces.
Yeah, Live on the Murder Scene. There was Three Cheers.
Three Cheers would be the coolest.
Good.
Black Parade's
Black
actually the best.
Parade.
So you can't really.
Conventional Weapon.
There's no losing.
There's no losing. You couldn't name. Yeah,
There's definitely
even the
not a...
Bulletary. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow. Vampires Will Never Hurt You.
You know what I'm saying? A banger.
Skylines and Turnstiles was
Banger.
so good.
It's
Front to
screaming
back.
yard.
Yeah, for real.
That'd be cool. Now, cinematically, what's your favorite era of My Chemical Romance?
Cinematically, I mean, Black Parade's the most cinematic.
Yeah.
But again, you could choose any era and it would fit perfectly into a movie.
I mean, the Ghosts of You video. That
It's so epic.
yeah.
Like Saving Private Romance. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
It was Sam Bayer who did Black Parade, right? Production wise?
No, I believe that was Rob Cavallo, but I also...
No. The music video.
Oh, okay, got it.
Oh, I'm not sure who did the video.
Gotcha. Oh, I'll skip over that.
All right.
But yeah, dude, Rob Cavallo, what a legend.
Legend.
Man.
Front to back.
Evan, Cam, thank you guys so much for coming by idobi Warped Radio. I'm absolutely honored. I finally got a chance to speak to you guys on camera, and I'm very excited to see you guys at the Long Beach date of the Vans Warped Tour. I've done this twice. I'm going to do it a third time. What song do you want me to play for everyone out there right now?
I just wanted to do that. What do you want to...
I Would Hate Me Too.
I Would Hate Me Too. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
idobi Warped Radio.